Hi all, Mary Bolger here, Naturalist with Iowa County Conservation, and I want to welcome you to our virtual wild edibles series. Today, because right now mulberries are in full fruit, we are going to be making mulberry muffins. Mulberries are one of the first berries that go to fruit here in Iowa. And if you have a mulberry tree or a shrub, you have lots of them right now. So we're going to be going through the process of making our muffins today. We'll go through what you need, and then we'll go step by step in making the muffins, and then we will actually go outside, just outside the nature center here, because we have a big mulberry tree, to look at that while our muffins are cooking today. So I'm going to grab my camera and turn it around and show you what we're going to need as far as supplies today. So this one has a few different supplies, but a lot of these are things that you probably have at home. So we are going to need today 2 cups of flour. I already have that measured out. I'm using gluten-free flour today, and I've made these muffins with this, and it works great, a pre-mix of gluten-free flour. You're going to need salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You're going to need 2 eggs, a 1/4 cup of water. You're going to need a 1/4 cup of honey or maple syrup for sweetness. I do want to note that this recipe is sugar-free, but these muffins are still really, really good. They have a nice sweet flavor. You're going to need baking powder and baking soda. You're going to need a 1 tablespoon of lemon zest. If you don't have a fancy lemon zester, I'll show you a little tip on how to make your lemon zest a little bit later. You're going to need 2 beautiful mulberries, which we already have picked and cleaned. You're going to need a 1/2 cup of vegetable or canola oil, and then you're going to need some spray to spray your muffin tin or muffin cups. And then you're going to need a couple, and you're going to need a big mixing spoon, 2, and then here. So, let's see, I have a question here. Where do I find mulberries? So mulberries, we have a lot here at Lake Iowa Park. They're a tree that grows just about everywhere. They're one of those trees that sometimes people take out because they can grow in fence rows and things like that. But we do have some here at Lake Iowa Park. A lot of people have them in their yards too right now. So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and start mixing up our mulberry muffins here. And then we'll get them in the oven. I have the oven preheated already at 375, ready for our muffins to go in. So first thing we're going to do is mix all of our dry ingredients together. So we're going to take, in our big mixing bowl, we're going to take our 2 cups of flour. We are going to take our 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix that in there. We're going to take our, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And then we're going to take a 1/2 teaspoon of our baking soda. Mix that right in there. And then give all of our dry ingredients a good stir together. One thing I want to say about this muffin mixture, if you've ever made muffins from scratch before, your mixtures might be more on the liquid side. They're a little bit runny, but this mixture is pretty doughy. It's going to be pretty solid, and I'll show you when we get that to that point. So all of our dry ingredients are mixed together. Now we want to mix together our wet ingredients. So we're going to take our 2 eggs first. When you are doing your eggs, you don't have to worry about beating these eggs in the recipe. They're just going to be mixed together with all of our other liquid ingredients. So 2 eggs. We're going to take a 1/2 cup of our vegetable oil that we're using today. All right. We're going to take a 1/4 cup of water. And then we're going to do, I'm going to use honey today, but you can also use maple syrup. So I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. I'm sorry, honey that we're using today. One thing that I really like about this recipe is that there are no added sugars, refined sugars I should say. What gives this recipe sweetness is the honey, of course, and then the mulberries. So we have our 1/4 cup of honey, and then we're going to add in our tablespoon of lemon zest. And we're going to mix these together. Break up the yolks a little bit and mix those wet things together. It smells really good. I love the smell of lemon zest here. All right. Oh, our oven is preheated now. So next step we're going to do is we're going to take our wet mixture and we're going to add it to our dry mixture. When you're doing that, sometimes I like to kind of spread it out a little bit and make a little well or a little indent in there because you're going to be kind of folding it together, mixing it together. And you'll find out pretty quickly that this one is going to be a pretty good dough. It's not going to be very runny, but it mixes together really nicely. And you might have to scrape the sides of your bowl to get some of that flour in there. But it goes together pretty well. And use your spoon really good to kind of mix it together. All right. So I'm going to show you what the dough looks like here so you get a good idea. All right. So you can see that the dough pretty solid right here. And at this point, the only thing we have left to add to our mixture are the mulberries. So the beautiful dark purple mulberries right now. I'm going to add those right in, and you're going to fold them in. The one thing about mulberries is they are a little bit of a fragile berry, especially when you are mixing them together. You're folding them in. So you're taking your dough and you're kind of moving it over. You're going to get a little bit of color, a little bit of purple color from your berries. That's okay. These muffins look a little bit different than your typical muffin. They're going to have, the dough is going to pick up a little bit of a purple color, and you might smush a few of the berries, but that's okay. It just gives you some nice good flavor in there. And this one is a pretty berry heavy muffin, which I really like. All right. So we got them all kind of folded in there. I'll show you what my mixture looks like again, and then we will prepare our dough and put it in our pan. So this is our muffin dough right now. You can see there are still a few berries on the outside. That's okay. We can put those right on top when we put them in our muffin tin. You can see a little bit of that purple color kind of mixed into the dough. That's typical. And then some of the berries are inside the dough. All right. So next we're going to take our muffin tin right here. You can either use muffin cups or you can use spray to kind of spray your muffin tin here. I'm going to spray these. This recipe yields 12 muffins. You can have it and do 6 if you only want a few. And then you'd only need a cup of mulberries. All right. So to fill your muffin cups, you want to take a tablespoon, like a big serving spoon, and you want to put a tablespoon of that. Because this batter is really doughy, you have to push down that dough into your muffin cups. You don't want to fill them all the way too terribly much, so it'd be fine because it's a pretty solid dough. These ones are a really great muffin. Lots of fruit. Mulberries have lots of vitamins in them. And they're fruity, if you like to have fruit in the morning too. All right, that's 6 there. Seven. Nine, 10, 11. 12. So I have a few berries left in the bottom of the pan here, or I mean the bowl. So what I like to do is take those and sprinkle them on top. I like to have lots of pretty berries on top. When they cook, they're going to darken a little bit and get nice and crispy. A little bit crispy, I guess. So when you are harvesting your berries, a lot of times the mulberries, the little green stems that hold them onto the tree, will come off with them. So what you'll have to do is the wonderful process of de-stemming these berries. And it takes a little bit of time. But it's a fun job for the kids to do. This is a kind of a really fun activity for families because you can go out, you can go for a hike out in nature, you can go harvest some berries together, and then you can bring those berries home. You can clean them, de-stem them, and make something with them. So, all right. So, what I do sometimes too is smush my muffins down a little bit. Kind of get them down there in the muffin tins. Now when these muffins bake, because of the type of dough that it is, they're not going to be your typical muffins that come up in with the nice little dome top there. They are going to have some different shapes on top with the berries too. So, all right. So Here's our muffins. We're gonna put these in the oven, and then we're gonna head outside because we have a nice mulberry tree right outside the nature center, and I wanted to show you a real one today. So you're gonna bake these at 375 for 12 minutes. So I'll set my timer for 12 minutes here. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna grab my camera and we're gonna head outside, just a few steps outside the nature center door, because we have a nice mulberry tree that is in full fruit right now and really beautiful. So I'll turn my camera around here. My connection to the Wi-Fi here. So right now we're at Lake Iowa Nature Center in Lake Iowa Park, and we have a lot of beautiful trails. We have camping here. We have the bird blind where you can go and watch birds and other wildlife. And right just outside the nature center here, we have this nice little boardwalk that has a beautiful mulberry tree right here. And so sometimes the mulberry trees can get pretty big, pretty tall, 30 to 50 feet tall if they get pretty mature. And if I get a little bit closer, you can see I picked a lot of the lower ones, so maybe we need to go a little bit further. You can see that we have these beautiful mulberries. I'll pull some down here. Pull one of these branches down. So the mulberries, you can see that there's colors of berries here right now. The white ones are not ripe yet. They're just kind of going to fruit. The dark purple ones are ripe. And then there's some kind of in between that are a little bit pinkish or kind of reddish. Those ones still need to ripen. They're almost, and it might be hard for you to see. Let me see if I can zoom in with my camera. I can zoom. This tree is probably 30 feet tall, and it has berries the whole way up. There are hundreds of thousands of berries on this tree right now, and it will be fruiting probably for about another 2 weeks. I want to give you a different view here. If we take a look down, you can see that a lot of the berries fall down here. We have a temporary stained walkway here, but there are lots of animals that will come and eat these berries. Insects and animals would take advantage of this too. So this is our big, beautiful mulberry tree here outside of Lake Iowa Nature Center. So we're gonna head back inside, and I'm gonna show you a little bit, talk to you a little bit about some fun mulberry facts. We're gonna take a close-up look of some mulberries and their leaves, talk about their structure a little bit, while our muffins are cooking. It won't be very much long till they're finished. So if anyone else has any questions while we are on here live about mulberries or about any of the other wild edible programs that we have done, please type those in the comments. The really great thing is that we can interact and during our program. So also, if you have any requests, we are going to be getting into the so right now, some of the fruiting soon this summer that we are possibly going to do some wild edible programs with are we have some currants here and gooseberries here at Lake Iowa Park. We also have raspberries and blackberries and some wild strawberries. So if you have any requests and the programming here, send us a message and let us know that you would like to learn a little bit more about some of those wild edible berries, or if there's something out there too that you want to learn a little bit more about. Doesn't even have to be wild edible. Send us a request on our Facebook or email us, and we'd be happy to programming with that. So a few fun facts about mulberries. I brought inside here so we could get kind of a good close-up picture of the mulberries. The light's a little weird outside. You probably saw that the mulberry tree has lots of leaves, of course, but none of the leaves are really the same. All different kinds, sizes, and shapes. They do have the leaves that are toothed, so they have little kind of jagged teeth on the edge, and they can be a little bit of an irregular shape on the stem. And on this little stem that I took off today, kind of to show you a close-up, I have some unripe berries, those white ones. I have a few that are ripe, those dark purple ones, and then a few that are kind of in between right there, that are kind of the pinkish and reddish berries. So the structure can be a little bit sporadic. So where the berries grow, and then also where the leaves are, and the size and the shape of the leaves. So mulberries are a deciduous tree, which means in the fall time they will lose their leaves. Their leaves will fall. The tree will go dormant, and then the next spring, of course, those buds will pop out. Those leaves will come out. They will start to produce their berries. Now, the one really neat thing about mulberries are they are wind pollinated. So a lot of our fruit trees like apples and oranges and almonds and different things like that need pollinators, need some type of insect to pollinate them. So they go from one blossom to another, taking that pollen from one flower to another so the fruit can grow. But with the mulberry tree, the structure that their berry comes from the bud is kind of out in the open, and when the wind blows through, the pollen blows around. So they are wind pollinated, which is not typical of your different kinds of fruit when it comes to berries and other kinds of fruit like that. So, and there are about 16 different species of mulberries out there. It can be a big tree like we saw today, or it can be a small kind of shrubby bush. The mulberries that we're using today are black mulberries, thus they're kind of dark purple color. We can tell by that. And they are one of those big tree species. So that tree can grow anywhere from 30 to 50 feet tall if it's able to be grow into a mature form. They can get really big, have lots of branches. That one has been pruned back just a little bit because it kind of goes over a trail and a walkway, and we didn't want it to get in the way of people that were walking on that bridge. But it's also a nice place to have it because that trail goes to our bird blind, and lots of people use it to go visit that. And right this time of year, they can stop and they can get a nice little berry treat from the mulberry tree. So mulberries also have lots of important vitamins for you. So just like blueberries and strawberries and raspberries and things like that, mulberries have vitamin C, A, E, and K. They also have potassium, iron, and magnesium, which are all very important things that you need to have every day for your nutrition. So the fruit of a mulberry can be consumed, but no other part of the mulberry tree. A lot of the wild edibles that we like, the dandelions and the clovers, you can eat all parts of the plant, but for the mulberry, it's just the berry that you can eat. So they're, like I said, about 16 different species, but they're not only this dark, beautiful color when they're mature. There are mulberries that are white, so not true of this one. These ones are immature but there are some that have mature berries that are white. There are also some that are about a few inches long, maybe 2 or so inches long, and those don't grow here in Iowa. Some of them are red in color when they are mature. So white, red, and black mulberries we can find all over the world. And the mulberry is one of those trees that is actually in the fig family, and so they can grow, different species can grow in different parts of the world. So there are species in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, here in the United States, America. So lots of mulberries that grow lots of different places. And mulberries, if they are trees, they can, and they're allowed to grow, and they're healthy, they can live 25 to 100 years. So they can be a very long-lived plant or tree. So they're also one species that, because birds and other wildlife will forage on these, if there's an area that they are plentiful, you can find them then deposited through scat, so they're droppings. They can pop up in different places that maybe you hadn't seen them before, just from those seeds. Because a lot of animals, when they eat a berry, they don't digest the seed. The seed just comes out, and then it can, if it's deposited and it has nutrients from the soil and sunlight and water, then it can grow into a shrub or a tree, whatever species it's coming from. So sometimes you'll see them on forest edges. Sometimes you can find them in your yard. Sometimes you can find them fence rows, different places like that. Our muffins are done. I'm gonna turn you around here so we can take these out and take a look at them. Oh, they smell really good. I wish you guys were here so you could smell them with me. So I'm gonna set these on my towel here. And I'm gonna move you around. Now, if you don't have a cooling rack, that's totally fine. You can let them cool, I should say, on a towel like this, or you can just use some paper towels. I'm gonna take one out. They pop out pretty easily. I'm gonna take it out so we can kind of take a look at it and turn my camera around. All right, so you can see that this muffin, it definitely has a pretty unique color. That dark purple color came from those berries because they are a little bit fragile and they bleed a little bit of their juices out. All of our muffins look a little bit different, but I like muffins that look like this. They're kind of unique. Some of them have lots of berries on top. Some of them have just a few. So those are our mulberry muffins. If you have any questions about the mulberry, please put those in our comments or send us a message. I want to thank you very much for joining me here today to learn a little bit about the mulberry and make some mulberry muffins with me. And I invite you to come out to Lake Iowa Park and forage some mulberries. We have them all over the park. Then make some mulberry muffins, or just kind of have them as a nice little treat or snack. They're really, really great thing to eat, and it's a fun activity that you can do with your whole family. If you have any... Oh, I got a little message here. Can you yes, I certainly can. I will post that recipe. I usually do post the recipes in the comments after I do my Facebook Live, so I certainly will for you. It'll take me just a little bit here. Thank you very much. If you have any questions about the mulberries, or you have any requests for different Facebook series, you're welcome, Glenda. If you have any requests for different wild edible recipes or things you want to learn, then please post those in the comments, and we'd be happy to do those for you. Let's see, got another question here. Is it allowed to pick berries at, so here at state parks, they do have different rules, but we are a county park, and you can come forage berries here at Lake Iowa Park. And how about edible plants such as spring onion, nettles? Yes. Yes, you certainly are. Here at Lake Iowa Park, state parks with the DNR are a little bit different. So I would question or call their office or send a question to them for state parks. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, Glendon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have any requests for our future wild edible virtual series. Thanks for watching today, guys. Have a good weekend.